Sharala. It's your brother Dot from GMS St. Petersburg, Florida, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise unto YAHAWAH, BAHASHIM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHIM, Rakakwadash. The honors to the apostles and the elders of great MILLSTONE that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you, Akim, pushing this truth and sincerity on the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Alright, so I want to jump into this quick little article, basically dealing on just the constant buildup of Russia, all right, and building up to that position that they're going to be in to be able to take America out of the picture, all right. This here article says, spot on, Russia to track future U.S. missile with upgraded over-the-horizon radar, all right. It says, in response to U.S. plan to pull out of the INF treaty and the active development of its hypersonic technology, all right, and just as to speed you up to date, you know, basically America has threatened to pull out of this INF treaty. Basically, it's the intermediate range ballistic missile treaty, more or less to say. Basically, in layman's terms, they made a treaty to say, look, we're not going to further develop or do research or anything like that as far as making mid-range to long-range missiles, more or less to say, you know. But nevertheless, and America is accusing China and Russia from developing these types of weapons. So America's like, well, shit, they not doing it, so we not gonna do it, you know. But in reality, is basically what America is trying to. America is basically, you know, America's not holding their own end of the bargain. They're pulling out all kind of different deals, you know, starting with the Iranian nuclear deal and so on and so forth, you know. And with NATO, you have America-led NATO that's surrounding Russia, all right, with technology such as the what is this called? It's called the THAAD system. All right. Basically, it's like the Russian S-300 system. You know, it's basically it's a missile defense system. You know, and America's plan is, look, we don't care what Russia has, what kind of missiles they have, as long as we can have their complete borders surrounded. You know, with these missile defense systems. You know, as long as we got this, you know, no matter what they got, we can shoot it out the air before it leaves Russia. You know, so this is making Russia develop more and more weapons, you know, i.e. the hypersonic missiles, the nuclear powered missiles, all right, these smart AI missiles and things like that, all right. But now you have America trying to combat with that, because now that Russia's pretty much unleashed, you know, unveiled their new weaponry. Russia has what? Hypersonic missiles, all right, which America can't catch no hypersonic missile. That's like trying to shoot a damn bullet out the sky with another bullet in the dark, you know, in the dark and in the rain, you know, and while it's foggy and cloudy outside, you know, and snowing, you know, that's the odds of you trying to hit a damn hypersonic projectile out the sky with another projectile, you know. That plan ain't too well, you know. So America's trying to, you know, develop they trying to basically step up to the race. They all extra late though. But this is all playing into prophecy, all right? This is all how it's supposed to go down. Russia was supposed to, you know, be that sleeping bear. All of a sudden, as America has been preparing the whole time, Russia will wake up and Russia will come snap back into that position real quick, you know? It's not going to take, you know, America has been building its military and advancing its military heavily since World War II, you know? And at that same point in time, Russia, you know, after the Cold War, Russia basically fell back, you know? Russia went to sleep, you know? And America kept going ahead at full steam. But now all of a sudden you would think America has such a such a head start, or they so far out ahead. But in reality, Russia just woke up and snapped right back into reality real quick. All right. And now actually this technology isn't really new technology, but now it's coming into where they have the technology to actually make this a little better. But continuing on, it says, in response to U.S. plans to pull out the INF treaty and the active development of its hypersonic technology. All right, like I said, they're trying to catch up with their hypersonic technology. Russia is building a network of radar stations best suited to detect missile launches from afar. All right, basically, what would give them well, it'll go into this type of system compared to the other type of system. Long story short, like in the other systems, you basically would have these missiles once they come into a radar path, you know. Once they get a certain distance in, you know, let's just say they get into the red zone. Once they get into the red zone, you can basically detect them and react to it, you know. But this system was more or less an older system that they had and planned to where basically they could detect the launch basically from launch, you know. It says Russia is seeking to install a container type over-the-horizon radar stationed along its borders. The move will substantially boost Moscow's capability to monitor airspace and detect missile launches, particularly in the case of hypersonic projectiles. All right, because really, with America so close up on Russia, if they was to unleash a hypersonic missile before Russia could even understand what was going on, they'd already be hit, you know. The over-the-horizon radar employs completely different technology compared with conventional radar installations that only provide line-of-sight coverage limited to the range of dozens of hundreds of kilometers at best. Like I said, just imagine, like, let's say we here in Florida, right? And let's say we have a radar system here in Georgia to pick up something coming from New York. It has to fly over Georgia first, you know, to be able to detect you. All right, so now you're in the hot zone of hitting Florida. All right. But basically, they want to be able to detect something a lot further out, you know. They want to be able to detect, you know, hey, basically once it's on the launch pad and it's about to be taken off, you know. And plus, they have certain technologies to be able to tell where there's a detonation, you know, by seismic waves. And they can also tell, you know, a path of where it came from based off of, you know, flight patterns and arcing and all that type of stuff. But really, you know what I'm saying? Russia, the whole fight is trying to get somebody before they can get to their damn gun. You know, if I can stop you from, like, you know how the police had their guns in their holsters. If I can stop you from reaching down in the direction of your damn holster, I've already won. But once you can reach down to your holster, now I got to sit here and worry about if you actually pull the gun out, if you actually can aim the gun, if there's actually bullets in there, and if you can actually hit the target. That's too much chance to offer. So we want to hit you as soon as you start reaching for your damn holster. You know, this is the type of, how do I say, warfare they're going to, you know. The type of warfare we're in nowadays, it's like, you know, it's not like in the old days where you got a bunch of soldiers on the field and you know, you're waiting to see what the outcome is based off resources. Nowadays, it's basically going to be like they're going to turn on a switch and everything autonomously is going to just take off, and certain systems are going to try to, how do I say, render other systems obsolete, you know, and whoever has the best system pretty much wins overall, you know. It says, the over-the-horizon radar employs completely different technologies compared to the conventional radar installations that only provide a line of sight coverage limited to the range of dozens of 100 kilometers at best. The over-the-horizon system relies on radio waves bouncing off the ionosphere, Earth's top layer that is heavily ionized by space rays. Radio beams of a specific frequency projected by the over-the-horizon radar transmitting antenna gets bounced down high up in the sky, and on their way back to the ground can be reflected off the backs of radar, ships, or missiles. All right, basically like sonar, you know, or any kind of sound wave. The only time you hear sound is when it's reflecting off of something else. So basically, they shooting out these radar waves, and if they project something inside, you know, how can I explain this? Let's say you have a swimming pool, right? A big ass swimming pool, and like, let's say there's no jets or nothing inside the damn pool, so the water's completely still. You know, you could track movement. Let's say each one of the little droplets of the water inside the pool was a sensor. All right, now whenever each single little drop it start being separated because the water's sitting still, now you could pick up movement. All right, it's the same way they shoot out this radar. All right, being, i.e. in the example being the water. All right, the sitting water sitting still where nothing's moving. Now all of a sudden, when you detect something that goes inside of that, like let's say a lizard fall into the pool, or a raindrop falls into it, that raindrop or that lizard is going to cause a disruption in the water. All right, which is going to, if the water molecules are sensors, basically it's going to show up as a blip. All right, and this is basically what they're trying to do. They're basically trying to make a cloak over the whole damn sky, so if something in the sky is moving, they can track it no matter how big or how small, really how small it is, you know, because a lot of these things, the smaller that they are, the faster that they move, and how they move through the wind, you know, with the hypersonic missiles, because, you know, just their shape and everything like that, you know, they're cutting through the wind, so you really ain't going to be able to see this thing. All right. It says, the return signal then travels back to the receiving antenna again via the ionosphere. The technique extends coverage to thousands of kilometers. Russian researchers have developed new equipment and processing algorithms to compensate for the interference caused by the sun's radiation in the ionosphere. It also takes sophisticated mathematical algorithms to isolate relevant targets and more so to determine their velocity and direction based on the Doppler shift. All right. There was another paragraph I wanted to read. Hang on one second. This might be it right here. Salakia. There was another This is all right. Continuing on, it says they managed. Continuing on, it says they managed to detect American space rockets launched at Cape Canaveral, following multiple upgrades. The Duga was able to provide consistent detections of space shuttle launches. The Titan ballistic missile from Cape Kennedy, 7,000 to 9,000 kilometers away. Nevertheless, all attempts to detect Minuteman missile launches from Vandenberg Air Force Base via the polar section of the ionosphere were in vain. Despite the success, the Soviet over-the-horizon program had given way to the space-based ballistic missile launch early warning technology. All right, so like I said, this isn't really new technology. However, they just now have the technology to, to actually put it in use for it to work for the type of shit that they got going on nowadays, you know? So hypothetically, to give you an example, you have, let me think of something. Shit, you got a damn Bluetooth speaker, right? What's the point of having a Bluetooth speaker if you don't have no type of devices shooting Bluetooth, technology, more or less to say, you know? Like before we had Bluetooth and everything wireless, if you had a Bluetooth speaker, it'd basically be renderless. You know, it'd be rendered useless. Now you fast forward in time, you still got that Bluetooth speaker. Now they're coming out with Bluetooth. Oh, now I can put this speaker on and this and that. Let's go ahead and pull that Bluetooth speaker out the closet. Now we can use it for certain things and it's going to work out way better. All right. It says, some influential military specialists who were involved in the over-the-horizon research were skeptical about its merits, but the Duga project still yielded many practical achievements that were used to develop the next generation over-the-horizon system. All right, so basically, let me just read this as well. It says the space component of the ICBM launch early warning system is pretty good at detecting launches from U.S. soil, but it's not capable of getting the coordinates for the targets. All right, and so this is basically, you know, one of these systems, our early warning detective system, you know, and as you see all these things come into play as these hypersonic missiles, nuclear powered missiles and things like that, S-300, the S-400, the S-700, you know, I did an article on the S-700, how basically, so how these things work. This is more just, this system here is just a radar. This is not really shooting nothing at nothing. It's just telling you, okay, this is coming from over there. This is going from over there. This just happened there. But things with like the S-700 system, all right, which there's not too much information out on that, but if working like all the other systems that they do have, they basically, not to say autonomous, but they can pick up like let's say somebody, they got this S-700 system or whatever, they got this little the launcher, right? It's sitting there unarmed or unmanned, right? Nobody's around it. All of a sudden one of these radars pick up a launch. That damn S-700 going to take off and it's going to shoot something before it even hit the ground, you know? Really, in the S-700, when you start to prepare your technology, they go ahead and shoot up off the ground. However, they need the radar system to be able to detect that. This is where this over-the-horizon system is coming into play, all right? They can be able to see you basically, or they're trying to get to the stage now and develop it now, the fact of the matter, all right, we can see when you getting on a launch pad to go ahead and launch out, you know? Now, we don't really know where this technology really is because, like I said, they're telling you this is a really old system. And we know that America also has technology the same way to where they can, well, I'm not sure if they can actually detect if you loading some shit up on a damn launch pad to launch it. But, like with North Korea and some of their launches, you know how some of their launches fell on takeoff, you know? That's basically America using, like, their DO weapons, directed energy weapons, all right? Because they know they're about to launch out with certain things so they can make a so-called failure. All right. But nevertheless, this is just showing basically how far in advancements that Russia is moving towards this military pull. All right. We'll grab a couple of scriptures real fast. is showing all this in preparation. All right, because we read a lot about Russia in World War III and how Russia's going to nuke America with their thermonuclear missiles. And, you know, just by reading that through the line, you would know that Russia is going to have the superior nukes at the end of the world. All right. Not only that, Russia is going to also come with another thing. You know, the nukes is one thing, you know, but another thing that's in these scriptures a lot is basically their armament, the shields, and basically these missile defense systems. All right. When you read about Russia in these end times, you read a lot about them having armor. You read a lot about them having these missiles. All right. And you also read about them basically being like an arms dealer or the plug to all these other nations. All these other nations going to be there in World War III too, but you don't really hear about them developing missiles. You don't hearing them. They don't talk about none of them nations coming up like that. You hear them talk about in the scriptures, the weak saying I am strong, but none of those nations are really developing nothing. All right. Those nations are all being served by Russia. Russia is the one selling them all this stuff. All right. This is Jeremiah 51:11. It says, make bright the arrows. All right. Now, make bright the arrow. The arrows is talking about the nuclear missiles. All right. And when you go into bright, you know, let me see if they actually break it down like that in that definition. I don't want to spend too much time on it. It's only got about 3 precepts to pull out. But let me see what they say for make bright. It says to purify, to select, to polish, to choose, to purge, to cleanse, to make bright, to test or prove. There we go. To test, to prove. All right. Also to purify, but to prove one. All right. To show oneself pure, just, kind. All right. To polish arrows, to make bright the arrows. So this isn't talking about, you know, I mean, hell, you can make them in a sense. You can say in a sense to make them, you know, you got a regular bow and arrow. Now you got fire on the back of them. But you prove, like, you making it a little better. But more or less what this is talking about is to, like, nowadays you got smart watches, smartphones, smart every damn thing. This technology they got now is all goddamn, they got smart missiles, man. What do you think these hypersonic shits is, and with this AI and this changing course and rerouting and all this is about? Multiple heads inside the, multiple warheads inside the damn Satan 2 missile. All right, the Satan 2, when they had the Satan 2 missile come out where it could reposition itself, come on, man. It's a smart missile right there. All right. It says, and you got Donald Trump talking about, oh, we're going to develop smart missiles. You already behind the curve, man. Russia's been developing smart radar, smart missiles from a long time ago, man. All right. It says make bright the arrows. So not just, you know, take the old ass bombs you got, but increase the knowledge and the technology you got with them, man. We didn't have nuclear missiles. Well, a variation of them since World War II. We used what was that, hydrogen bombs on Japan. Well, we used a hydrogen bomb, and I think we used a might have been a hydrogen, might have been, I forgot. We used 2 different types of bombs, but neither one of those types of bombs are what we using today. All right, so the shit that we using today is in a way more polished or way more purified or way more, how do I say, refined process. All right, and that's what they doing now. We didn't have radars and missile defenses and all kind of, you know, shields and body armor and shit like that for the longest amount of time. But now what? They're how do I say, they're improving. All right, you didn't have damn, how they say, bulletproof tanks and shit like that. You know, then you got bunkers, right? Well, let me back up. You got bunkers, right? Why do you need a bunker? Well, because the enemy is on the ground and they shooting at us and we need somewhere to hide. All right, well, we're going to build you a bunker so you can go down there and you can withstand the enemy shooting at you with bullets. All right, well, now the enemy got bombs. Well, we're going to make the bunker a little deeper. Well, now the enemy trying to hit you in the bunker, he can't hit you. Now they're going to develop a bunker buster. It's going to go down there and blow up the bunker, right? So now what do you need to do to defend yourself? Well, shit, if he can blow up the bunker, I ain't safe in there. Let me try to sit here and knock his damn shit up out the sky when he's shooting it down, or make me a shield so when it's coming inbound, I can destroy it coming inbound. All right, from there, you're going to try to knock it out the sky while it's approaching you. And then if you miss that, it'll hit the damn so-called barrier that you have set up when it gets closer. All right, now you're going to develop from there, and you're going to try to hit it before it even launch off the ground. All right, and if it missed that, then you're going to try to hit it in the sky. And then if it missed that, you know what I'm saying, you're going to try to hit it as it's approaching. And if it missed that, you're going to go down to your damn bunker. So as you see all these different ways of protecting yourself is being proven more and more and more. Same with these missiles. Back in the days, you know, first and foremost, they used to fight with swords and stuff like that. But they also had the sword was like, first of all, you got fist fights, right? Then you want to go a little further than the fist fight. You bring out a sword, right? Now you want to hit your enemy from a distance, because swords, you got to be close up on somebody. All right. Well, we could take just the tip of the sword and we could shoot it at your ass from a far distance and get you a lot further off before you even get close up to us, before we have to pull the sword. All right. Pushing the fight back a little further. All right. So they're proving their so-called hand-to-hand combat to sword, from hand-to-hand to swords, from swords to arrows, from arrows to bullets. You know, you can't shoot somebody in Texas. Well, you can't shoot a gun from Texas and hit somebody in California with it. You know what I'm saying? But you can take a missile. You know, well, you start with the bombs. You drop bombs, now you got missiles, all right? So it says, make bright the arrows, or prove these arrows, or, how do I say, upgrade, or, further, further this in the, advance in technology, more or less to say. Make bright the arrows, gather the shields, okay? Like I was just saying, the same way as you proving these shields, you got the chain link, mesh on, the iron suits or whatever, whatnot. Now you got bulletproof vests, Humvees, tanks. You know what I'm saying? Now you got missile defense systems. All right. You can defend one person with a damn bulletproof vest. What about a whole country? All right. What about this or that? You know, you need missile defense systems. All right. It says, make bright the arrows, gather the shields. Yahawah have raised up the spirit of the king of the Medes. All right. For his device is against Babylon, and to destroy it, because it is the vengeance of Yahawah and the vengeance of his temple. All right. So basically, the Most High said he's the one. Hang on 1 second. Let me read this as well. Verse 12. Set up the standard upon the walls of Babylon. All right. So we know that the Medes, or the Russians, is coming up against Babylon, or America. Make the watch strong. Set up the watchmen. Prepare the ambush. For Yahawah have both devised and done which he has spoke against the inhabitants of Babylon. So we know that Russia is going to wind up prevailing, and as we see this build up, we see the Most High's plans being set in place. But nevertheless, the Most High is raising up these damn Russians to take out America, and what? To prepare their weapons. All right, to update their weapons. Get everybody that new upload. Let me read one more verse. I think it's verse 28. Con. It says, let me read verse 23. Oh no, I thought it says, I'll just read verse 28. It says, prepare against, prepare against, let me see. I think there's a verse in here where it says, no, it's a different chapter, but nevertheless, going back down to verse 28, it says, prepare against her, talking about Babylon, prepare against her the nations. All right, that's what I was saying. These other nations, they're not really building up now. They don't really have nothing to build. They're not part of the so-called main characters. All right, they're gonna be there, but they're gonna wind up getting their stuff from Russia. It says, prepare against her the nations with the king of the Medes. All right, the king of the Medes, the Russians, they're gonna be the one preparing all these other nations. The captains thereof and all the rulers thereof and all the land of his dominion. All right, it says, and the land shall tremble and sorrow, for every purpose of Yahawah shall be performed against Babylon, to make Babylon a desolation without habitation. All right, so the Most High has it already said that these Russians is going to wind up taking out America and leave it desolate. All right, I'm going to read a little bit in Ezekiel 38. This is Ezekiel 38, verse 2. It says, Son of man, set thy face against Gog and the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him. Now, some would say, oh, wait a minute, it say Gog in the land of Magog, and you was just reading about the Medes. Well, when you actually look at the map and all these places, basically all the same place, you know. But nevertheless, you also have, I'm not going to say that you also have where, like, the Lord does call nations by different names sometimes, like spiritual Sodom and spiritual Edom, or Egypt, Salakia. You know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, when you're talking about Russia, it's normally always the king of the north, all right, the Medes. Or, like in this scenario, Gog, well, Gog is like the king, but Magog would be the land, all right? But nevertheless, when you go back and you look at these ancient maps, it's still in the same place. It's the same place, all right? And as you see it all being played out in the world today, who the fuck is America tripping about developing weapons? America's not tripping on no other country on the planet Earth about them developing weapons. Or no type of weapons or whatever. Now, you had other countries where they was like, oh, they had weapons of mass destruction. All right. And Iran is developing a nuclear program. They could develop a nuclear bomb. That's not no real threat to, that's not really a threat to anybody, really, in reality. That's the propaganda piece so they can push go to war inside of Iran. However, Russia is the only people that's posing a threat and developing weapons and selling these weapons to any and everybody else. You talking about, you worried about Iran developing a nuclear weapon. What about Russia just selling them nuclear weapons and ICBM missiles to deliver them? All right, they allies. What the hell are you talking about? All right, Ezekiel 38:2, it says, or 3, it says, and say, thus saith Yahweh power, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal. I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws. Okay, turning them back. Like I said, after the Cold War, well, put it this way, World War II, you know, Russia was dominating over there. You know, well, not to say dominating, but you would think of in the story that they would have you understand that Russia was a big power and they was dominating, they was out of control, and the whole world had to fight against them. All right, them in Germany, right? So after all of that, you know, after the fall of World War II, Russia went basically into aggression mode against America. Then they had basically a stalemate called the Cold War. After the Cold War ended, Russia basically went to sleep. All right, and America kept going. But what? The Most High said, I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws. All right, I'm gonna bring your ass back. It's like a fish. You got a fish on the line. He didn't swam straight down with the bait. You about to bring his ass back because you got that hook inside his jaw. He already hooked. He's stuck. He don't even realize. All right, no matter what he want to do, no matter how he can squirm his way out, no matter what kind of peace plan he trying to come out with, the Most High is turning him back. There's nothing he can do about it. All right, it says, I will turn thee back. And as for instance, you can see this actually happening in Syria. All right, when America was bombing ISIS out there in Syria, right, and fucking up Syria, and Bashar al-Assad, right, and Bashar al-Assad was crying for some kind of damn intervention. What? The Russians stepped in and they started shooting cruise missiles from out there in the sea and hitting ISIS targets, which was really backed by America. All right, and which was pissing America off. So what? America had to step up their game and start, oh, Russia, if y'all do this, Russia, if y'all do this, blah, 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 certain things is going to happen. Well, now Russia is stuck inside this whole calamity, because now if Russia is to leave, you really don't have shit like that popping off in Syria no more. But however, at any point in time, if Russia decide to leave Syria, what you think America going to do? They're going to rush in like a flood. If Russia leave Iran's side, what do you think America's going to do? Rush in like a flood. The only thing that's holding up, besides the Lord and the prophecies, the only thing that's holding Esau up from running down on all these other nations is what? Russia. All right. So Russia's being brought back, and now he's stuck in a scenario. Now he like that little prank where somebody tell you to hold this bowl up on the damn wall, up on the roof. As soon as you let that shit go, the shit gonna fall on you. You covered. All right. You can't move. Verse 4, I will turn thee back. I will put hooks into thy jaws. I will bring thee forth, and all thine army. Okay. I'm talking about the Russian army, all of their army. Horses, this is not going to be a small skirmish. They're not going to just use a portion of their military, like how America got a portion of their military fighting a battle over here and a portion of their military fighting over there. America don't got their whole military in one area fighting them one enemy. They fighting multiple fronts on multiple ends in multiple countries. All right. But Russia going to have all their military fighting basically one war. All right. It says, I will bring thee forth in all thy army, horses and horsemen. All right. Here's the key part. All of them clothed with all sorts of armor. All right. Even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. So they're going to all have these missiles. All right. They're going to all have these missiles. And then like these S-300, 400, 500, 600, 700, they can all be outfitted with as an offensive type weapon. All right. Not just a defensive type. They can also be an offensive type. All right. You don't necessarily have to pose a threat towards them for them to just be like, well, shit, you flying. You're not on our, our white list, so we're going to take your ass up out the sky, right? But nevertheless, it says all of them with all sorts of armor, all right? Talking about, again, these missile defense systems, these shields, all these different things. That's why you see right now, as far as Russia and they main push, they pushing both offense and defense. Defensive missiles or defensive shields and offensive missiles, all right? They all are, how do I say, not improvising, improving all these systems. All right. They taking these old, like I said, the old, how they were saying, over the horizon radar, the old system. Now they improvising it. They upgrading it now. All right. Now, these are the people, it says even a great company with them. Persia being Iran. Let me see if they even translate that in here, because the other ones are already translated till modern day. But, they don't directly tell you. I mean, if you was to follow that on the map, it would tell you that it's Iran. However, I mean, this is a real simple one to break down, because you can go on the map and look up the Persian Sea and see where Persia, what country is next to Persia. But nevertheless, or you can follow this. Like I said, the map, they'll tell you. The Empire of Persia encompassed the territory from India onto the east of Egypt and Thrace on the west, and including, besides portions of Europe and Africa, the whole Western Asia and the Black Sea, the Caucasus and the Caspian and the Jarctus of the north, the Arabian Desert, the Persian Gulf, the Indian Ocean in the south. Basically, Iran. All right. In my actual Bible, it says, you know, when it says there, it says Iran. All right. You can do a quick Google search and find out what Persia is. All right. So Russia is going to be preparing all these other nations and being a guardian to them. Being a guardian to who? Persia, Ethiopia, Libya with them, all of them with shields and helmet. All right. Missile defense systems, S-300, S-400s like Turkey and Syria. Gomer and all of his bands in the house of Tumagah and the north quarters and all of his bands and many people with thee. Be thou prepared and prepare thyself. Okay, so the Most High is telling Russia what? Prepare thyself. Upgrade your systems, all right? Not just your systems, these other nations that's going to be with you, because you're going to be a guardian to these nations. You're going to be the head. They're going to be the, you know, they're going to be following, all right? It says, be thou prepared and prepare thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee. Not just your military, but all these other militaries is going to be joined unto you. All right. And be thou a guard unto them. All right. So you're going to be a protector unto them and guarding these other nations. And what? A conglomeration against Babylon the Great inside of World War III. All right. So with that, Lord willing, this here lesson was edifying unto the elect. Until next time, I say, call halal Yahawah, Bahashem, YAHAWASHI, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught us this truth and that root well. And salutation, much love for you. I can push this truth and sincerity in the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions, defeat and edify the elect. Until next time, I say stay strong and shalom.